Stop me if you guys have heard this before, but Alabama has just landed another 5-star in their 2026 recruiting class. Welcome into the show. My name is Chris Daughtry, and you guys are watching the Alabama Football Report. 5-star in-state wide receiver Cedarian Morgan has officially announced his commitment for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and what a massive in-state win this is for the Alabama coaching staff. Kalen DeBoer, Jamarcus Shepard, they've done a phenomenal job in getting Cedarian Morgan on board in Alabama's 2026 recruiting class. Another massive in-state win as well. You now have committed 3 of the top 4 in-state recruits from the state of Alabama. You have Zion Gibson. He's number 4 right now. Also, I believe the number 3 cornerback. You also have the number 2 running back in the country in E.J. Crowell. And now the number 2 wide receiver, Cedarian Morgan, all committed to Alabama's 2026 recruiting class. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the commitment here of Cedarian Morgan. There's also a little bit of an update on defensive lineman Elijah Golden that I want to go into. And then Anthony Jones, the number 2 player from the state of Alabama, the number 3 edge rusher in this 2026 recruiting cycle. Steve Wiltfong gave a little bit of an update on him. Not the biggest update. Kind of seems more like hey, I've got to write something. Let's just kind of write this about Anthony Jones. Is kind of what it seemed like to me. But we're going to break it all down here on today's video. But if you guys are excited that Alabama has landed yet another 5-star in this class, why don't you drop a Roll Tide down in the comment section of today's show. Also, a shout-out winner from our comments challenge from the last 5-star that Alabama ended up landing in Xavier Griffin was Zugetsu. Also want to give some honorable mentions to the Kool-Aid Man, James Crick, and Kevlar, the Welding Warrior. You guys all spam the comments, and I appreciate that as well. So if you guys are excited, get down there and spam your Roll Tide roll down in the comment section. All right, so the top 6 teams here for Cedarian Morgan were Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Florida, Colorado, and Clemson. There was, 2 weeks ago or something like that, he kind of popped up. He was in Colorado just kind of out of nowhere, which did make me a little bit nervous. But, for the most part, Alabama has really been the leader for a long time for Cedarian Morgan. He was, on campus when Nick Saban was still the head coach. This Alabama staff has been recruiting him for a while, but he was even being recruited from that Nick Saban staff as well. The number 2 wide receiver out of Benjamin Russell High School. In 2024, this kid went absolutely insane. 73 receptions, over 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns as well. It's honestly kind of comical when you go and you watch his highlights because to be completely honest, I don't really follow Alabama high school, football, like which teams are actually good. I just kind of watch the highlights of the guys that Alabama's going after. It doesn't seem like his team, Benjamin Russell, is really good right now. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm just completely stupid and wrong on that. But just watching some of his highlights, it's just like, F it, CD down there somewhere. Ends up, doesn't really matter if it's double coverage, triple coverage. He's going to go up and he's going to get that football. So, 6'5", 210 pounds. This is a massive wide receiver. He also said last week during an interview that Julio Jones was the wide receiver that he models his game after. So, really, this could be one of the best big body wide receivers that Alabama has had since Julio Jones. This is an incredible talent and a massive, massive pickup for Alabama in this recruiting class. Now at that wide receiver spot, you have Owen Cable, Brian Williams Jr., and Cedarian Morgan. It was reported by Bama Online that Alabama was originally only going to really pursue, 1 to 2 wide receivers in this class. But when Owen Cable and Brian Williams Jr. were, going through the evaluation process, the coaching staff was really impressed with them. So, another note as well, Brian Williams Jr., I believe he was hurt his sophomore year, so he didn't really get a lot of playing time. So really last year was the first year that he really, was able to get a lot of playing time and really put some stuff on tape. So, he's still going to kind of be a little bit of a work in progress. But hopefully in his senior season, really do think he's going to jump off the tape and really, rise in the recruiting rankings. I even saw Andrew Bone yesterday talking about Brian Williams Jr. and said, On3 probably hasn't even really done a really, really good job of, evaluating him in person. That probably really hasn't happened yet. So these are 247 sports rankings, but On3's got him down there as well. So it's both of those guys, Owen Cable and Brian Williams Jr., are guys that could end up becoming 4 stars eventually going into their senior season. So do not miss any commitments that Alabama gets. They've now had 10 commitments in the last 10 days, and we've put a video, a short, a community post, something out there for you guys, so do not miss out. Make sure you guys hit that sub button and stay locked into all things Alabama football, news, rumors, recruiting, whatever it is. We got it here for you. Make sure you hit that sub button for me right now. All right, so now looking at the updated 247 Sports composite rankings, Alabama, they were outside the top 30 like 2 weeks ago. After this commitment here from Cedarian Morgan, they jump all the way up. I believe they jumped inside the top 10 after you got E.J. Crowell and the 2 wide receivers. They were at like number 8 or something like that. But now, with another 5-star on in your 2026 class, they have now jumped up to that number 6 spot overall in the composite rankings here. USC still sitting there at number 1. They've got like 19 4-stars and like 10 3-stars or something like that. I think they have 1 5-star as well, but volume really is what is keeping USC up there. Georgia, they've been really hot on the recruiting trail. Notre Dame as well. Texas A&M, we'll come back to them here later on in the show when we're talking about another 5-star recruit that Alabama could be that is going after, but we'll see if they'll actually land him or not. Ohio State's sitting there at 5 as well. And man, this really isn't this isn't stopping Alabama from getting some more players, some really notable players. On July 4th, Nolan Wilson, the 4-star defensive lineman, top 100 player, will also make his commitment decision, or his commitment announcement anyways. And then you also have another 5-star. We've been talking about these guys a lot. Jira Edwards also is going to be making his commitment announcement the very next day. So I believe I did the class calculator the other day for, adding all of these guys, and there's a real opportunity that Alabama could end up yet again with a top 3 recruiting class in the country if you get these guys as well. So a couple big-time guys coming up here, but the news of the day, 5-star wide receiver Cedarian Morgan is committed to Alabama. So let me know here in the comment section, will Alabama finish with a top 3 ranked recruiting class? Type Y for yes or N for no. Let me know what you guys feel down in the comments of today's show. All right, we'll continue on here with some Elijah Golden and Anthony Jones conversation, but you guys can get what I am calling the Kalen DeBoer hat right here, because this is the hat that Kalen DeBoer really does wear a lot of the time on the sidelines. So that's what I'm calling it, the Kalen DeBoer hat here. Originally, it was $25 on sale right now for only $8. Probably as cheap as it's ever going to get. So if you guys need a new Alabama football hat, you can get this one right here. It's also like that dry fit. So, if you're getting sweaty or something like that, it keeps you very, very cool as well. I've got the same exact hat at my house as well. So just go over to chatsports.com/DeBoer hat. That's what I'm calling it, because this is the hat that Kalen DeBoer wears on the sidelines a lot. So on sale right now, originally $25, on sale for now only $8. Just go over there, chatsports.com/DeBoer hat. I'll put that link down in the comment section and the description of today's video. Should also be a little clickable link over there in the corner of your screen that'll just direct you right to that hat as well. All right, we also have a Elijah Golden update here as well. He has announced that he is going to make his commitment decision on July 26th. And this would be another big-time get for Alabama if they were able to land him. Don't necessarily know, honestly, if they're going to be able to land him. It really does seem like he's been favoring a couple of other schools. Notre Dame has really been the one that has been favored here for Elijah Golden. But this would be another big-time get if Alabama could land him, because we know that, the defensive line is one of the biggest spots that Alabama has been targeting in this 2026 cycle. They've already got 3 guys on, and they would love to get a couple of more here as well. Mike Singer, also of On 3, he's the Notre Dame guy. He's actually placed an official prediction for Notre Dame. And, I actually used to be the producer for Mike Singer during his recruiting shows over there when I was doing some freelance stuff for On 3. And he would always say, follow the visits. So I'm going to go the exact same thing Mike always used to say here and follow the visits. Well, what did the visits say? In the top 4 schools right now for Elijah Golden, you got Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Notre Dame, as reported on On3's website anyways, on his profile, no, he has taken the most visits there to Notre Dame. So if you're going to take that same exact, kind of mindset that Mike Singer always talks about, follow the visits, kind of looks like Notre Dame's probably going to be the school there, but still has also visited Alabama 3 times as well. These are your defensive line commits right now for the 2026 class. And look, honestly, it doesn't, look amazing just by the numbers and the rankings, but I'll be honest with you guys, if you go and you watch the film, these guys are really, really good. I think Kamarion Johnson is just super, super underrated. He is an extremely fast player for his size on the defensive line. I really like J.J. Finch. I think he's going to rise up in the recruiting rankings as well. And who knows, possibly also getting Nolan Wilson here in 2 days. And then Anthony Jones, we'll touch on him here in just a second. But that's another possibility that Alabama can get at that, kind of bandit/wolf position, just kind of depending on what they want to do with him there. So let me know down in the comments section yet again, where do you guys think Elijah Golden will end up committing to here in just a couple of weeks? If it's Notre Dame, type ND. If you think he ends up committing to Alabama, type Bama. If you think he commits to Virginia Tech, that's probably the least likely place he would commit to. But who knows? It is recruiting. Crazy things happen. Type VT if you think it's them. Or if you think he ends up taking his talents to Oklahoma, type OU down in the comments of today's show. All right, an Anthony Tank Jones update. He's been really quiet since his official visit to Alabama back on June 20th. And that's kind of been the story of his entire recruitment, right? After the high school football season, he was doing other sports. He was doing basketball. He was doing track as well. So really didn't take any spring visits, but finally, kind of later on in the process, ended up actually taking some of those official visits as well. Alabama got one. Texas A&M got one. Oregon got one. Some other schools out there as well got an official visit there from Anthony Jones. But this is what Steve Wiltfong said about kind of where things sit right now with Anthony Tank Jones. He said the intel is starting to favor Texas A&M for the Mobile, Alabama, St. Paul's Episcopal 5-star edge rusher Anthony Tank Jones. Alabama, Auburn, Miami, Oregon are others that he is high on. Jones plans on committing later in the process. Mike Elko and the Aggies will wait on him, and they are in great position with the summertime winding down. Now, later in the recruiting process, when he ends up making his decision, that's kind of the newest thing I think we've heard about Anthony Jones. We didn't know if it was going to be before the high school football season or if it was going to be later on towards the, end of the season, closer to that early signing period or maybe even the late signing period or, the normal signing period, what most people know it as. But, this, if he ended up not committing to Alabama, would be a tough loss, but I don't think it would totally destroy your confidence or anything like that in this recruiting class. Obviously, I said at the top of today's show, with the commitment of Cedarian Morgan, you now have 3 of the top 4 players from the state of Alabama committed to you. If you got Anthony Jones in this class as well, man, that would really, stick it to the Auburn Tigers who talked all that shit last offseason last recruiting cycle. Well, where do they sit right now? They sit 89th overall with only 6 commitments right now in the 247 Sports recruiting rankings. So, man, if Alabama can get this guy as well, that would be just a big, big win in the 2026 recruiting cycle.